Hello everyone, Nicole Telkes here with the Wildflower School, and we're going to talk about a very common herbal medicine, rose. And the Latin for rose is rosa, and usually a species. And one of the common ones you'll find is the wild rose, Rosa rugosa, but there's also many species. So I kind of just say if it's a rosa, you can kind of use it somewhat interchangeably with other roses. So rose is a rose family astringent. And so rose is in the Rosaceae family. That's easy to remember, right? As long as you just remember what a plant family even is, which many of you probably don't care. So roses are very, very unique in that they all kind of have a little bit of a different smell, different color. People have bred them to have all sorts of different sizes. They come out at different times in the season, and they're usually thorny shrubs that you'll see. And in the deep south, the flowers will come out in February. But if you're in the northern latitudes, you're looking at June and all the way through July, even into September in some places. But it really just depends on where you're at. Deserts, not so much. This really takes extra water and some cold season to it. So it prefers seasonal climates. It'll do the best in mild seasonal climates that are temperate zone. So roses are also one of the reasons you wouldn't all want to this smells so good, y'all. One of the reasons you wouldn't want to put your nose into all roses is that some roses are heavily laden with pesticides and all sorts of things that have kept them looking perfect all their way to the flower shop or grocery store. So make sure that when somebody gives you a rose that they've made sure and gotten it from a pesticide-free location. So that's especially important with things that you're going to be putting in you or on you. You do not want to have this full of toxic pesticides, right? So this is the petals I've gathered, which I'm going to be making into an extract today. And believe it or not, they shrink very, very small, so that this is going to get to be almost nothing. So I have to keep collecting all season. And roses are oftentimes collected at the height of the flower, and the petals are used, but you can also use the hip that's created, the fruit from the flower. And the fruit, which is the rose hip, is really high in vitamin C. And so that hip is collected after the first frost, which the south doesn't really have a lot of, but up in the northern latitudes, after the first frost, the rose hips will turn a deep orange, and that's when they're perfect for harvesting and using in tea for their vitamin C content. So you've probably seen roses used a lot in beauty care and body care products, and I'm going to talk about why that is. You might have heard in my other videos of me talking about astringency. Well, this plant was taught to me by Michael Moore as being yet another rose family astringent, Yarpha. And Yarphas are safe for internal use. They're gentle on delicate mucosa, so they can be used in the eyes, the mouth, the nose, the genitals, anywhere that you have delicate mucosa, it's safe. The gut, some astringents and remember, astringents tighten, tone, and are mildly disinfectant. And because this has aromatic oils, it's even more disinfectant than, say, something that doesn't have any kind of aromatics. So this has a nice disinfectant quality to it, but it's also very gentle, gentle, gentle. So because it's so gentle, it has become quite popular. And this is something that you'll find in tons of body care. Sometimes there's been even tea blends people have created, like Tulsi and Rose is a really common one. Rose is a nice little additive to just kind of bring a different flavor to a blend. But why? So this energetics of this plant, it's thought of as being cooling and drying. So This is a little bit cooling, a little bit drying, and it's especially good for prickly people, especially people who have prickly hearts. So think about the rose bush and how it has those thorns on it. Well, the flower actually can soften up people's hearts that are a little thorny. So energetically, if you're looking at it purely on a spiritual level, energetically, this is oftentimes put into blends to just kind of soothe and open and help the heart to be a little bit more able to accept people and forgive and be more fluid with letting people in. More permeable, I should say. Even though it's a tonic physically, energetically, it allows for a little bit more love, and love being a little bit more permeable in your energetic heart. So maybe some of this is ringing true for some of you out there. I know a lot of us have done a lot to protect our hearts, so this will still create a nice protection for you, but it also allows you to forgive and let things in. So, and I love that I get to have my nose right next to this wonderful smell. So, so I've gathered these up because physically the plant is oftentimes used for skin conditions. So you'll see it as a toner. You'll see this as a scrub. Like I like to dry these, and I'll grind it up and then I'll use it as a scrub on my face. And I will also use it as a scrub on my skin in general. If you tend to have heat and inflammation in your skin, you'll see in Ayurveda a lot of times rose is used for the Pitta constitution, and it's usually those people, the fiery, sharp, really heated people that don't like rose. Maybe you're one of those people, but you're probably the one that needs it, either externally or internally, energetically. So you can even get rose essence. Sometimes rose essence is used just to be that spiritual heart opener, but specifically white rose I've used a lot for grief and transitions. So each rose can be used a little bit differently according to its color as well. So let's go back to its medicine physically. Physically, it's that Yarfa, and so Yarfa means that it's going to tighten and tone and be mildly disinfectant, right? So that toner for the skin, you'll see sometimes an aromatic water is sprayed on people's faces or the rest of their bodies. And then you'll also find that you can take the rose petals and again dry them out and put them into a base oil and let them infuse and get that nice volatile oil to come into the base oil, and you'll get this rose scented oil. Now I prefer this to essential oils, or attars they're called, with rose, because the essential oil of rose or the attar takes hundreds of pounds of plant material. Sometimes they're using toxic solvents to get that out of the plant, the essential oils out of the plant. So it's very expensive to get the attars, but it's also a lot easier just to make your own infused oils from backyard roses. So the trick to getting it to smell like you used an essential oil when you didn't is to do multiple extracts of the same oil. What I mean is, go ahead and take a bunch of roses, dry them, pack a jar full of it, grind up the rose petals into the oil, let it sit for a month or so, extract out the oil, then do it again. With the same oil, add another batch of dried rose petals, grind it up, let it sit, then do it again. So do a triple extraction of dried rose petals into oil, or into, say, vodka, if you're wanting to make like a little spritzer that way, or perfume spritzer. Or if you're wanting to make a vinegar toner, you can make really, really strong smelling rose extract by doing triple extractions of the flowers. And there's a lot of them out. You can usually find quite a bit of roses. So gather, from well-sourced places and then try this out. See what you think. I also, one of my favorite ways to use this is as a yoni steam for people who have injured their genitals from birthing or from surgery, or maybe you have chafe or something. So this is a nice one to help heal through a steam or a wash that you can put on topically. So this is mild, gentle, can be used on all sorts of parts of the body, both internally and externally, generally recognized as safe, grass. So try it out, see what you think, and have fun with roses this year. And even if you're thinking about it more from a spiritual level, use it for your heart, see how it helps, because this is definitely a time when our hearts need to be soft and open to what's to come. So that's it from me, Nicole Telkes, Wildflower School. You can find out more at our website, wildflowerherbschool.com. Have a great rest of your day or evening.